What is up, everyone, and welcome to another special edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, and this is where I give commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Before I get started, I would like to send a special shout out to one of the newest subscribers, Tony Montana. Thank you so much for joining. Now, with that being said, let's get started with this review of WWE Fastlane. We opened up the show with Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes facing off against the Judgment Day. First off, much respect to Cody Rhodes for holding Finn Balor in thin air over the top rope before going for the superplex. I thought that was amazing. We also saw Jey Uso spear Damian Priest. I wonder how Roman Reigns is going to feel about that. We also saw Cody Rhodes. I was very concerned about Cody for a second. Cody Rhodes seemed to have hurt himself after doing some of the moves, including the Diamond Cutter, but later on he seemed better. We saw Corey Graves. It was hilarious as Simp19 Dom and Rhea Ripley came to the ring. Corey Graves advised Jey Uso, which was good advice, not to get caught up in the succubus known as Rhea Ripley. This is rather funny because it's funny because speaking of succubus, I will say again, Don Callis's theme song sounds like a succubus subliminal. But in any event, moving forward, we saw JD McDonald accidentally hit Priest with the briefcase, and we know that he's been trying to get recruited into the Judgment Day as an honorary member, like Sammy as an honorary use. But Priest got crossroad. They did a 1D like crossroad in the ring to Finn Balor before going for the win. And now we got new tag team champions. JD McDonald, you are so screwed, dude. Speaking of allied stable members who are going to be in big trouble tonight, we had the LWO taking on Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, whom I call Hurt Business 2.0. And tonight there was supposed to be a mystery partner whom we found out was Carlito. And, of course, with Carlito coming in after the Hurt Business dominated for the most part, while Montez was being a little too silly and trash talking on the apron when he wasn't tagged in, he got tagged in and started mocking Zelina Vega. Fun fact, I think he still resents the fact that Zelina poisoned him in 2020 before SummerSlam. Nonetheless, Carlito comes in and helps LWO win the match by scoring the pin. Hurt Business, Street Profits, y'all gonna get Bobby Lashley finna take off his belt on both of y'all. First off, I like pizza. Watching this tonight made me wish I had pizza. It's just, I'm like, I really wish all I had was cookies, butter cookies, but I wish I had pizza tonight. Pizza and wings. Darn it. And also, if you didn't see the pre-show tonight, we saw some very interesting things like the arrival of Jade Cargill. So let's cut the crap. And also, we found out that Wade Barrett is not hip, although he did pay tribute to home state legend Michael Jackson. But seriously, don't get Wade Barrett to try to be hip ever again. I'm afraid I've got some bad news, Barrett. You're not hip. In fact, let's move forward to this triple threat match. We have Charlotte versus Asuka versus Io for the SmackDown Women's Championship. We saw Charlotte Flair get missed early by Asuka. We saw a lot of misting tonight. We saw miss from Asuka to Charlotte, and Charlotte got angry when she came back in later. We saw Io Sky go for moonsaults while Charlotte says, "Let me show you how a moonsault is really done." And you can't have a Charlotte Flair triple threat match without seeing Charlotte go for either a moonsault or an almost corkscrew like moonsault. It's just not a good triple threat match with Charlotte unless you get that to happen. Nonetheless, Bailey, who was told to stay backstage, decided not to listen, comes in and provides distraction. Excuse me. She comes in and provides a distraction. And after giving that distraction, Io went for the moonsault while Charlotte had Asuka in the figure eight modification of her father's figure four. And then it was Io that would retain. Now, I will say this. Can we? I'm starting. Someone made a great point, and that great point is this: we need to get Asuka to be booked more dangerously. Whoever made that point, I completely agree with you, but we need to make Asuka dangerous again. I'm just saying. Before we get into LA Knight versus in Cena versus the Bloodline, I want to speak on something. Some of you, 30 of you, maybe 30 plus of you, have seen a short that I did today hours before Fastlane came in. And that was a short where I asked you, the fans, if you thought Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Arena, do you think they would host SummerSlam or WrestleMania? And sure to goodness, Pat McAfee made a special guest appearance as a man who has played for the Colts and said, what do you guys think about WrestleMania coming to Indianapolis? And I just did a short where I asked the fans WrestleMania or SummerSlam in Indianapolis. And I thought that was very amazing. Also, great to see Pat McAfee here tonight calling the match. That was a great match. I was very surprised to find out that Pat McAfee is not throwing fingers to the sky like he normally does for the bloodline, but he still respects the tribal chief Roman Reigns, despite the fact that this guy here has shown up more than Roman Reigns in a whole month. So the part time and fake biscuit has been more active than Roman, and this guy is a fighting champion, and I will get to him in a minute. But nonetheless, we have, first off, in case I haven't mentioned it before, Paul Heyman looks like he's getting older by the day, and liking Kayla does not get him any younger. Speaking of Kayla, has Kayla stole any race cars yet? Because she said she might take a race car with her, but she hasn't taken a race car yet. And also, glad to see a little bit of specialty added to the stage tonight with cars on the side. Appreciate that. Let's get into this match now. Now, in this match, we saw John Cena get isolated for a little bit. Then we saw LA Knight come in. And much like Pat McAfee, LA Knight jumped all the way to the top rope to deliver a superplex. And then we would see LA Knight get yeah chance as he boxes both guys. Wham, 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 wham. Both Solo and Jimmy Uso. We would see John Cena, after recovering from the isolated beatdown, give Solo the AA. We saw Jimmy Uso go for a splash, but that wasn't enough. We would see John Cena and LA Knight double team Solo before, no, it was Jimmy Uso, before going for the blood force trauma, and LA Knight would get the win for the team. Cena wanted to shake hands with LA Knight, but LA Knight insisted that he would raise the hand of Cena and show him respect. Now, that's real classy by LA Knight, the megastar, who arrived in style with an awesome car. It's stuff like this that makes me miss playing Need for Speed. I miss Need for Speed. Now, I'm not the biggest, I don't endorse running from the cops. I don't endorse that part, but I really miss racing. I really did. Also, did not know Shane McMahon had an active son on an NFL team, the Colts, at just 19 years old. I did not know that until tonight. So, Mr. McMahon's grandson decided to go pro football. Awesome. And also, his name is Declan McMahon, I believe. Hope I pronounced that correctly. But let's get into this main event. We had Shinsuke Bat Crackamora versus Seth freaking Rollins. First off, let me just say, as Seth Rollins made his entrance, he usually poses like this as fans serenade him with his theme song. But tonight, he did not do that, which was smart because with all the attacks behind from behind, no pun intended, Shinsuke has been in Seth's head, and Seth was right to keep his eyes on Shinsuke even while fans were serenading him with his theme. So tonight, obviously, we saw Seth have his back targeted. I mean, he was targeted where he was pushed off the stands in the audience, where his back buckled. He he hurt his back as he was back body dropped, reversing the pedigree on exposed concrete, which he did. We also saw ladders, we saw tables, which fans wanted. We saw kendo sticks and chairs. We would see Shinsuke back Nakamura go for the knees to the table, through the table, putting Rollins down. And there were so many times where we thought Rollins was going to stay down. And also, all the commentators were Michael Cole and Corey were like, "Stay. Where's KP, by the way?" First off, where was KP tonight, and where is Samantha Irvin? Two people are missing tonight. I hope nobody's sick. But in any event, we saw all of that. We saw tables, but Seth Rollins kept going. We noticed that because of Seth's bad back, that he struggled to set a table. And I hope we don't see a Shawn Michaels like situation where Seth is forced to go years without competing because of a bad back, because that happened to Shawn. However, we saw that. We also saw Kinshasa through another table, and Shinsuke would be the second person in the whole night to blow mist in Seth's face, and Seth would go through the announce table. None of that was able to keep Seth Rollins down. Seth went through misery at Fastlane. However, as they fought in the crowd, Seth Rollins went for a curb stomp as well as a pedigree and a Falcon's arrow, hurting himself, but he put Shinsuke through a table. Now, what's interesting is Pat McAfee left right after the tag team match and right before this main event. He could have been there to get on the table and vibe to Shinsuke's theme, but who knows? Nonetheless, after stomping his head in, pedigree, and putting him through the announce tape through the table in the crowd, Seth Rollins becomes the last man standing, and the crowd is very happy, including a cosplay Kane in the audience. And to me, this was a pretty good event. Love the push by LA Knight. Like I said, make Oscar dangerous again. But other than that, let me know your thoughts in the comments below about what you thought about Fastlane at WWE. But for now, I'm your host, Aaron Cody, and that's all the time I have for you today. And speaking of what Matt McAfee said, be sure to check out my short where I ask you WrestleMania or SummerSlam. See you next time.